Welcome to day 14. Gorgeous red sky, or red sky this morning. Now it's just the red sun. Very calm last night, very calm. Just pulling into Valencia now. So they say it's about 12 kilometers into town. They have a complimentary shuttle that runs from the ship to the edge of the port where you get taxis or whatever else to go the rest of the way into town. Or $12 a person. There's a shuttle that takes you to the center of town. Then that's return. $12 return. We won't be going into town. We're heading on a wine tour today. But little information, there's no way you can walk to town. You're not allowed to walk at the port anyway. And this is the line up to the buses. Hold this thing. Yeah.
Get a fire hydrant.
A little breezy.
Requena. It's quite an isolated area, and we're gonna do two things. Of course, we're gonna visit a winery, and also we're gonna do a short visit in the old city of Requena, which is one of the oldest cities in Spain. It was founded in the 7th century before Christ, so it's a pretty ancient city. Many people have inhabited, many different civilizations have inhabited the area. Which they've had the Iberians, Visigoths, Roman, Arabs, Christians from different parts, and so Requena is a pretty good to Valencia. So later on, maybe if you like to see the Marina of Valencia on the way back, we could drop you off maybe around there, and if you like to spend some more time in Valencia. But because we have to go quite far away, and we want to make it on time at the winery and also at the museum in Requena, so it's normally this riverbed is full of water around autumn, which is the rain season in Valencia. Maybe we have 1 or 2 weeks of rain constantly every day, and rains, it feels like the end of the world sometimes because we have huge storms, and this is the only time that they have to release water from the dam, and this canal gets filled up with water. So here you see water because right here on this, little by little, we're gonna start climbing up to this plateau. So we are going all the way up until around 700 meters above the sea level, which is where Requena is situated. All these trees here to the left-hand side are orange trees, and but the oranges have been picked up already. Best oranges. The season starts in November, end of November more or less. Around Christmas, it doesn't seem to be taking care of that, and so always they promise they're going to abolish this kind of horrible, hideous festivals that they never do. And I think they're too scared to lose votes, and they never do really. And there are a few towns in a region called Extremadura, which is down in the south, between Andalusia and Portugal, and they do that. They throw the goats from the bell tower of the church. To celebrate what? I have no idea. We have 40 airports in this country. 40 airports. Can you believe it? Some provinces, there are 2 airports, and it's really, really crazy. I mean, sometimes you have airports with 2 flights a day, or airports with no flights at all. It's quite interesting, the color of the soil. Yeah, sort of like clay color. It's like reddish. It's really, really lovely. The contrast with the red, the mountains, and the green of the trees is really lovely. and the regime was pretty long, and I mean, Spain had some silly laws that, for instance, you couldn't walk more than 10 people, sorry, in the streets. You couldn't. It was considered to be a demonstration. So 10 people was okay, 11 people not. So, for instance, in my communion, I was born in 1970. All the guests after the church, you have to walk. So one of the reasons why people are so proud of their wines, and it's a big deal for them, and they will never sell it. That will be. It's out of the question. Even if they're completely broke, they wouldn't sell it. Also because the land here costs not very much. That's actually quite good. The land is very cheap here. You can buy a plot of land for really almost anything, really. And that's one of the reasons why people they wouldn't sell it. But also they wouldn't sell it because
Looks like they have a little train. It's part of the tour. This is the winery.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, a little hopper. Very dark. This camera's useless in here.
when we passed the bus, we couldn't see it from the bus, and they have another winery there, so that's like the central part of the company. This is the barrel group, biggest winery in Valencia. For a lot. 15,000 barrels.
15,000 barrels in here. Wow.
Ahora si está puesto en solución, sí que se puede usar sosa.
Yes, sometimes, in fact, she's saying that occasionally they use sulfates when the barrel is really, really dirty for some reason. Then yes, but only in certain locations.
Yeah.
Normally not.
Wow. Look at the vats.
They do that in the night, and for the red wine, for the red grapes, they do that in the day. The reason for that is because in the night they need, it's colder, and you normally harvest the grapes for the white wine and the rosé, much cooler temperature, and the red wine is in a temperature, normal temperature, which is warmer, of course, because
I guess it's going in for wine tasting now. Here's our little choo-choo train.
Fly landed on
It didn't have a whistle. Yes?
I thought, ooh, Spanish.
Wine tasting.
There's like a mixture of green. Ah, okay.
That's cute.
Well, I guess we go up to the store now. That was a great wine taste. So we're turning this big bus. Wow. Annapolis.
See? So we are in the town of Utiel. Thank God we have a good driver, otherwise we get stuck there. We'll be stuck there in the middle of. His name is Ivan. Ivan. Yeah, that's the driver's name.
Oh.
It means the strong one because it was the border between Castilla and Valencia. And here to the right hand side you have the bull ring of Requena. Very Moorish looking. And the bull ring is quite a large one actually. It has 7,000 seats. And they close the main streets in the center, which makes more difficult for us to drive around.
Is that right? Oh yeah.
So this is the main avenue of Requena, the main promenade, and then right at the end is the old city. But they cut the traffic today because of the market. In 70s and 60s they used to cover the bins because they thought it was ugly. Now it's the reverse. Now when they restore the houses, they try to get rid of the lime or the paint that covers the bins. Like this one also. This one is pretty old.
Sounds like our never used to.
Old town Requena.
I don't know, ours used to. Oh my gosh, we turn the water on.
I'm sure.
I don't think so. This is like the Alfalma. Sounds pretty though.
Yeah. I guess we'll see it when we get in closer.
Yeah, that's nice though. That's better than the caves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to offer it.
In Requena, there's a bunch of caves below the city.
Dat wil ik dan net met je. Ja, sure.
When you see me fall, There's a storm. Oh, I never mind.
No, that wouldn't be good.
This is all part of the ship's tour.
Those stairs are just before.
Advantage is to be short.
There is, isn't there? I still feel like I have to duck.
I know, I know, it's a little difficult.
Se formaba una cámara inerte que se le enlazaba el vacío y así evitaban que el grano se deteriorara y estuviera en buenas condiciones.
So this used to be a silo where they keep the grain, and the only access to come down here it was through this hole, not through this. Obviously, this they were closed completely.
¿Cuál era el asunto? Y luego estaba la prueba.
Everything is original down here. That's from the 18th
Okay,
century.
so here, por eso es lo que no solo que luego, ¿no?
Wine,
Sí, porque cuando la
winery.
encontraron, aunque son muy altas, estaba inutilizada, llena de
Chance. And the capacity of each one is son 3,400.
unos 3.400 cada una.
3,400 liters. So
aproximadamente.
3,400 bottles of wine inside. quite a lot. And then but this one, the system is funny that the other one from the 18th century, it was a very uncomfortable one because your buckets, you have to fill all the, you know, it takes forever. But this one, 100 years later, it was much more improved than the other one. The stepping of the grape is upstairs, the deposit, and then through this little hole there, you see the hole? The liquid will go through this hole, not to a hole in the floor, nothing like that. It will go through a canal, a wooden canal, which will run on top of the jar. In fact, sometimes you see a wooden remain.
Goodbye, Valencia. Well, that was a very nice ship's tour. We took the wine tour, and then you went down to some caves that were underneath requena is an older city here, and all these little caves are underneath houses. We did the right thing by taking a ship tour here. It's really out of the way. By the time you pay shuttle into town at $12 a person, and then even in town it's not orientated for, at least for the North American tourist. I would recommend you do as we did, take a tour, preferably a ship's tour. Anyway, it was a great day.